What if I told you that somewhere in the jungles of Asia, there are creatures so rare, most people don't even know they're still alive? Not dinosaurs, not myths, birds, real, beating hearts with feathers older than empires. Ghosts that have outlived wars, storms, and human greed. From the drowned rainforests of Borneo, to the frozen wetlands of northern China, to the sky temples of the Himalayas, they hide in the shadows of what used to be paradise. Some glow like jewels, some stalk like hunters, some sing only once before fading forever. There are fewer than 500 storms of storks left, a handful of crested ibises, and maybe, if we're lucky, a glimpse of the Philippine eagle, the last emperor of the Asian sky. They are survivors of extinction, whispering reminders that beauty alone can't save you, but resilience might. So buckle in. We're not just watching birds, we're chasing ghosts that refuse to die. This is Rarest Birds of Asia, 20 species you won't believe still exist. And the flight begins now. If you walk deep enough into the swamps of Borneo or Sumatra, past the leeches, the heat, the silence thick as smoke, you might catch a flicker of white and black between the trees, and then nothing. That wasn't your imagination. That was the storm's stork, Asia's rarest stork, and one of the rarest birds alive. It's called the Phantom of the Rainforest for a reason. There are fewer than 500 left on the planet. It's so elusive that even scientists can go years without seeing one. Its long red legs and dagger bill gleam faintly through mist, a ghost haunting what's left of its home. This bird was once common across Southeast Asia. Now logging and palm oil plantations have erased most of its wetlands. Where trees once rose like green cathedrals, there's only silence. And maybe, if you're lucky, the quiet sound of wings cutting through the rain. Fun fact number 1, storm stork is one of the only storks that hates open spaces. It hunts deep inside forests, stalking fish and frogs under dark canopies instead of open rivers. Fun fact number 2, it's so sensitive to disturbance that even one human voice can make it abandon its nest. Imagine being that cautious and still trying to raise a family in a world that never shuts up. There's something tragic about it, right? A bird that depends on silence, living in a world that keeps getting louder. But here's the twist. Every time people think it's gone for good, someone spots one again. A flash of wings after a storm, a call over a flooded river, like the forest itself refusing to forget. So tell me, if the wild were fading all around you, would you stay and haunt what's left, or vanish quietly into legend? Because the storm's stork made its choice. It stayed, and in the last pockets of Asian rainforest, the phantom still flies. Proof that even ghosts can fight extinction. There's something strange about the way silence sits over an Asian swamp at dawn. The air is still, the mist curls low, and then, out of nowhere, a splash. A shape glides through the water, black as oil, with a single flash of white on its wings. That's no ordinary duck. That's the white-winged duck, a ghost that never left the wetlands. Once these birds ruled the forest pools of India, Myanmar, and Indonesia. Now, fewer than 800 remain. They live in secret, nesting in hollow trees that rise like pillars from flooded forests, hunting in darkness when the world is asleep. Even locals can go their whole lives without seeing one. It's not hiding out of fear. It's hiding because it has nowhere else to go. The white-winged duck is a creature of contradictions. Massive yet silent, powerful yet invisible. Its flight barely disturbs the surface of the water, and when it lands, the forest seems to hold its breath. If the storm stork is the phantom of the treetops, this duck is the ghost that moves below. Fun fact number 1, it's one of the largest duck species in the world. But unlike its loud cousins, it's almost completely mute. Fun fact number 2, scientists call it a forest duck because it refuses to live in open lakes. It prefers hidden pools surrounded by trees where light barely touches the water. Here's the heartbreak. Those very trees are disappearing. Deforestation for timber and farming has cut the swamps into pieces, leaving the ghost with nowhere to hide. Every year, fewer reflections ripple through the dark water. But here's the twist. In a few remote corners of Myanmar and Sumatra, the ghost still stirs. Sometimes when the moon is right, locals say they hear a soft wing beat across the still water, a reminder that the swamp remembers what it once was. So tell me, if your home vanished piece by piece, would you stay behind and haunt the ruins? Because the white-winged duck did, and in that haunted silence, its survival has become its song. Some birds make noise to be seen, others stay silent to survive. And then, there's one that moves through the rivers of Myanmar like a prayer, calm, patient, eternal. The white-bellied heron. They call it the river monk. And honestly, you'll understand why the moment you see it. Towering, ghost gray, and solemn, it stands motionless by the water, as if it's waiting for time to catch up. Its reflection barely ripples, its stare never wavers. Then, lightning. A flash of its long beak, and a fish disappears. Then silence again. Only around 50 individuals are left in the world. Let that sink in. 50. Fewer than the number of people on your next flight. Once common across India and Southeast Asia, this heron has been erased by dams, mining, and river pollution. The very water it worships has turned against it. But it doesn't complain. It doesn't adapt to the city or the farm. It just keeps standing in the current. A living meditation, a vow of stillness in a world that never stops moving. Fun fact number 1. The white-bellied heron is the second largest heron species on Earth, standing nearly 5 feet tall. Fun fact number 2, it feeds exclusively on river fish, which means when rivers die, so does it. Locals in Bhutan call it a sacred omen. To see one is a blessing, a reminder that patience is its own kind of power. They say it carries the spirit of old rivers, the memory of when the water still sang. But here's the twist. Every few years, someone spots one again in a forgotten valley, a single gray figure against the dawn light. Proof that faith, like water, finds a way. So tell me, when the world you love starts to disappear, do you run or do you stand like the river monk and wait for the current to change? Because maybe endurance isn't about strength, it's about stillness, and the heron has mastered both. There's a certain kind of quiet you only find on old lakes, the kind that feels like memory. If you ever stand by one in northern Myanmar or eastern China, you might see a dark shape drift across the glassy surface, then vanish beneath it without a sound. That's the bear's pochard, the rarest diving duck in Asia, and one of the rarest in the world. Once upon a time, these birds covered lakes and wetlands by the thousands. Today, there might be fewer than 400 left, a handful scattered across muddy ponds and forgotten reservoirs, survivors of a vanishing world. They dive deep for snails, roots, and seeds, staying underwater for half a minute at a time, bobbing up again like ghosts breaking the surface. Black head, white flanks, chestnut neck. Their colors catch the last light of sunset like wet bronze. Beautiful, yes, but beauty has never been enough to save anything. Fun fact number 1, bears' pochards migrate thousands of miles across Asia, but no one knows exactly where they all go. Entire populations disappear each year, only to reappear halfway across the continent. It's like they're trying to stay forgotten. Fun fact number 2, their decline happened almost overnight. In just 2 decades, polluted wetlands, hunting, and fish farming wiped out nearly all of their breeding grounds. Now, scientists describe their survival as a mystery and a miracle. There's something haunting about that, isn't there? A bird that lives by diving into darkness, now lost in the depths of its own extinction. But here's the twist. They're fighting back. In a few protected wetlands of Myanmar and Bangladesh, locals are restoring ponds, planting reeds, and watching as, one by one, the divers return. So tell me, if you'd sunk that far into silence, would you still swim back toward the light? Because the bear's pochard does. And maybe that's what makes it rare. Not just the numbers, but the refusal to give up the surface. If you ever stand where river meets sea, in that quiet place between salt and silt, you might see a shadow taller than a man, a shape still as driftwood until it moves. That's the great-billed heron, the silent giant of Asia's coastal wetlands. Longer than your arm span, with a bill like a spear and eyes that never blink, it waits. It's not in a hurry. Time moves differently when you've survived millennia unchanged. From the mangroves of Myanmar to the deltas of Indonesia, it rules the tide pools like an old god, hunting alone at dawn, its reflection merging with the clouds above. But while it looks eternal, its kingdom is shrinking fast. The tides are rising, the coastlines are vanishing, and the heron, patient as always, is running out of places to stand. Fun fact number 1, the great-billed heron is the tallest heron in Asia, standing over 5 feet and can strike fish with such precision that locals call it the fisherman that never misses. Fun fact number 2, unlike most herons, it prefers solitude. You'll almost never see two together, unless it's mating season, when even gods come down to meet their equals. In old maritime folklore, sailors believed seeing one before a voyage meant safe return, a blessing from the spirit of the estuary. And maybe they weren't wrong, because every time the great-billed heron rises in slow motion from the tide, wings unfolding like sails, the world feels calmer for a moment, like the ocean itself paused to breathe. But here's the twist. For a bird that lives between land and sea, its greatest threat now comes from both. Deforestation steals its nesting trees, while polluted water kills the life it hunts. It's not extinction by storm, it's extinction by inches. So tell me, if the ground beneath you kept disappearing, would you keep standing tall or learn to float? Because the great-billed heron chooses neither. It just waits, still, ancient, unstoppable, a statue of patience watching the tide come back one last time. Some kings wear crowns. This one wears a crest of feathers and rules from the clouds. Meet the Philippine eagle, the emperor of the canopy, the largest, rarest, and most powerful forest raptor in all of Asia. With a wingspan over 7 feet and talons that could crush your arm, it doesn't just fly, it commands the air. This bird is so regal it doesn't bother with flocks or followers. It hunts alone, high above the steaming jungles of Mindanao, where only thunder dares to echo. And yet, there are fewer than 400 left in the wild, each one born into a shrinking kingdom. Logging and mining have stripped away the forests that once echoed with their cries. What's left is silence. A silence that feels too heavy for something that used to sound like freedom. But the eagle endures. It builds nests the size of bathtubs on century-old trees, raising a single chick every 2 years. Slow, deliberate, patient. Because real empires aren't built fast, they're built to last. Fun fact number 1, the Philippine eagle is strong enough to snatch a flying lemur mid-air, a true aerial predator born for dense jungle. Fun fact number 2, it's the national bird of the Philippines, a living symbol of pride, resilience, and the wild soul of the archipelago. Locals call it Haring Ibon, the bird king. And when you see one perch high above the mist, crest raised like a warrior's crown, you understand why. But here's the twist. For all its power, it depends completely on trees. No forest, no throne. No throne, no king. So tell me, what's strength without a place to stand? Because this eagle can tear through storms, but it can't fight chainsaws. Still, in a few corners of Mindanao, conservationists whisper stories of eaglets hatching again. Tiny wings, tiny hope, and maybe, just maybe, the emperor is ready to rise again. Once, it ruled the skies above South and Southeast Asia. Now it's almost a rumor. The red-headed vulture, a creature so rare some people think it already disappeared. But if you ever wander into the dry forests of Myanmar or northern India, you might see it. A dark, hulking shadow with a crimson head and wings like old leather stretched across bone. It's not pretty, it's not graceful, but it's real, and it matters more than most of us realize. For thousands of years, the red-headed vulture was the continent's cleaner. It ate what others left behind, turning death into renewal, keeping the land free from disease. It was nature's quiet janitor until the world forgot what it was cleaning up. In just 2 decades, this bird vanished from nearly every country it once ruled. Why? Not hunters, not habitat loss, but medicine. When livestock were treated with a drug called diclofenac, their carcasses became poison, and the vultures feeding on them died by the millions. A silent epidemic of wings falling from the sky. Fun fact number 1, the red-headed vulture was once so common that it was seen as an omen of good luck in Burmese folklore. A guardian that consumed death so others could live. Fun fact number 2, its bald red head isn't a flaw, it's hygiene. The bare skin helps it stay clean while feeding. A perfect adaptation for a life most creatures couldn't stomach. But here's the haunting truth. There may be fewer than 200 left in the wild, and yet, some still fly. In a few corners of Myanmar and Cambodia, a shape rises above the haze, catching thermals like a spirit refusing to fall. So tell me, why do we only mourn beauty when ugliness is sometimes what saves us? Because the red-headed vulture never needed admiration, it needed understanding. And if the forests still breathe, if the fields still smell of life and not decay, it's because something red and winged once took care of the dirty work. Forgotten? Maybe. Gone? Not yet. There are birds that walk, and then there are birds that float, as if the ground itself is lucky to hold them. The sarus crane is one of those birds. Grace in motion, the tallest flying bird on Earth, and one of the last true dancers of the Asian wetlands. Standing taller than most people, with a bright red head and a call that rolls across the horizon like thunder, the sarus doesn't just live in the marsh, it performs there. Males and females bow, leap, and stretch their wings in perfect rhythm, spinning in slow motion through the mist. It's not for show, it's for love. Their courtship is a duet that can last a lifetime, because once they choose a mate, they stay together until death. But the stage they dance on is disappearing. Wetlands are drying, farms replace the reeds, and the music of the marsh, those deep, echoing calls, is fading. Fun fact number 1, sarus cranes can reach nearly 6 feet tall, and yet their nests are barely a few inches above the waterline, delicately balanced on floating vegetation. Fun fact number 2, their trumpeting call can carry for miles, so deep and resonant that locals once believed it was the voice of the rain gods. In India and Southeast Asia, they're symbols of fidelity and peace. In Buddhist art, they stand beside monks, their heads bowed as if listening to prayers. Even today, rural farmers stop working when they see a pair fly overhead. Not out of superstition, but respect. But here's the twist. Even the most elegant dancers can't dance without a floor. When wetlands vanish, the sarus has nowhere to land, and a song that once filled the dawn turns into silence. So tell me, if love could keep a species alive, wouldn't these birds be immortal? Maybe that's why they still dance, every morning, on shrinking pools of water. Not for applause, but as a promise that grace itself refuses to vanish. They call it tancho in Japan, jianhe in China, the red-crowned crane, the bird that walks between worlds. It isn't just rare, it's sacred. To watch one glide over frozen wetlands at dawn is to see a dream you didn't know the world could still have. Tall, snow white, crowned with a crimson blaze, it looks like a piece of sunrise come to life. Every step, every beat of its wings feels rehearsed by heaven. And maybe it was. For centuries, poets called it the bird of immortality. Artists painted it beside gods, and emperors wore it on their robes as a promise of long life and grace. But here's the irony. Immortality isn't easy to hold on to. Today, fewer than 3,000 remain in the wild. Their marshes and rice paddies have been drained, their migration routes broken by cities and power lines. They fly across a continent that keeps forgetting how to let them land. Fun fact number 1, red-crowned cranes can live over 70 years in captivity, one of the longest lifespans of any bird. Fun fact number 2, their mating dances are so intricate that human choreographers have studied them for ballet. two birds bowing, leaping, singing in duet. A love story performed against the sky. In China and Korea, people still gather each winter to watch them dance in the snow, a tradition older than most nations. Because watching a crane rise into the white sky feels like watching time refuse to die. But here's the twist. They've become symbols of immortality in a world where they might not survive another century, a legend struggling to stay real. So tell me, what's more eternal, a species that lives forever in myth, or one that still fights to exist in the cold? Because when the red-crowned crane takes flight, it's not chasing eternity, it's defying it. And that's a kind of immortality all its own. Some angels wear halos. This one wears a mask. The black-faced spoonbill, a ghostly white waiter with a jet-black face and a bill shaped like a spoon, looks almost mythical as it glides over the tidal flats of East Asia. Elegant, silent, a bird caught between worlds, land and sea, heaven and extinction. Once, these birds thrived along the coasts of Korea, China, and Vietnam. Now, barely 5,000 remain. Their homes, mudflats and estuaries, are being buried under concrete, and the birds that once stretched from Siberia to Taiwan now gather in tiny colonies, huddled together on shrinking scraps of wetland. It's strange, isn't it? The most graceful creatures on Earth are often the ones struggling hardest to stay alive. Watch them feed, bill sweeping side to side in rhythmic arcs through the shallow water. A kind of slow dance, a quiet ritual of survival. When the tide rises, they lift as one, a cloud of white bodies against gray skies, like purity itself trying to escape gravity. Fun fact number one, the spoon-shaped bill isn't a decoration, it's a tool. It lets them sift through murky water for shrimp and fish by touch alone. Fun fact number two, each bird has a unique pattern of black facial markings, like fingerprints or a mask made by fate. Locals call them the masked angels of the coast. And sometimes when storms roll in from the sea, they gather on sandbars and stand motionless, faces turned into the wind, as if guarding something sacred. But here's the twist. The black-faced spoonbill has become a quiet success story. From just 300 birds in the 1980s to thousands today, thanks to conservation across Asia. Proof that when nations work together, miracles still happen. So tell me, if a bird this delicate can come back from the edge, what's our excuse for giving up? Because maybe saving the world doesn't start with noise or power. Maybe it starts with silence, a tidal flat, and a masked angel sweeping the water clean. Every kingdom has its king, and in the forests of Southeast Asia, that crown belongs to the green peafowl, the emerald king. Forget everything you know about peacocks. This isn't your garden variety showbird strutting across palace lawns. This one is wild, fierce, born in the jungles of Myanmar and Cambodia, forged under monsoon skies and the echo of tigers. When sunlight hits its feathers, the whole forest glows. Emerald, bronze, sapphire, each plume catching light like a moving gem. And when it calls, that cry cuts through the canopy like a trumpet in a cathedral. It's not vanity, it's presence. The forest announcing itself, I am still alive. But here's the tragedy. The king's court is shrinking. Deforestation and hunting have turned its realm into fragments. Once roaming from India to Java, the green peafowl now clings to the last scraps of wilderness, its colors fading behind the green of rice fields. Fun fact number one, the male green peafowl's train can reach over 2 meters long, but unlike its cousin, the Indian peacock, it keeps its crest erect even in flight, because real kings don't drop their crowns. Fun fact number two, it's one of the few peafowl species where both sexes are stunning. Males shine with metallic hues, females shimmer in jade and gold. Royalty doesn't discriminate. In ancient Burmese lore, the peafowl was the bird of the sun, a messenger of glory and rebirth. Even the Buddha, they say, once chose it as his symbol of compassion and beauty. But here's the twist. Beauty can be a curse. Its feathers, hunted for centuries, became trophies of power. And yet the green peafowl never stopped calling, its cry echoing through forests that no longer answer back. So tell me, if your beauty was the very thing that doomed you, would you hide it or flaunt it till the end? Because the Emerald King never bowed. Even as its empire burns, it spreads its wings one more time, and the jungle remembers what majesty sounds like. If the sun ever decided to take bird form, it would look like this. The golden pheasant, a living flame wandering through the misty mountains of central China, isn't just beautiful, it's unbelievable. Crimson body, golden crest, a tail like molten bronze. When it moves through the bamboo, it doesn't walk, it glows. Locals call it jinji, the golden chicken, but there's nothing ordinary about it. This bird looks like it stepped straight out of a painting, and maybe it did. For centuries, it's been a symbol of luck, power, and divine light. In Chinese legend, it was said to follow the phoenix, as if even myth needed a companion. But here's the funny thing. For all its color and fame, the golden pheasant is rarely seen in the wild. It hides in the shadows of its own legend, nesting deep in mountain forests where humans seldom go. It doesn't flaunt itself, it lets the world come looking. Fun fact number 1, males use their dazzling feathers to perform cape displays, fanning their golden collars around the head like a fiery halo to impress females. Fun fact number 2, despite its radiant looks, it's surprisingly clumsy in flight, more likely to sprint through the forest floor than soar through the sky. Guess even beauty has bad cardio days. But here's the twist. Outside China, you can find colonies of golden pheasants thriving in captivity, in gardens and estates across Europe. They've survived, but their wild cousins, almost gone. A paradox, immortal in art, fragile in reality. So tell me, would you rather be admired forever as a symbol, or live unseen, just to stay free? Because the golden pheasant never asked to be a legend. It just wanted to burn bright, one flash of color in the quiet forest. Proof that even in the grayest corners of the world, the fire still flickers. Some birds dazzle you with color, others with mystery. The gray peacock pheasant doesn't shout for attention, it whispers, a quiet shimmer in the half-light of the forest, a living shadow traced in silver and violet, deep in the jungles of Myanmar and northern Thailand. This bird glides like smoke between bamboo stalks. Its plumage, soft gray dusted with iridescent eye spots of turquoise, looks like starlight scattered across stone. And when it spreads its tail, the forest stops breathing for a moment. It's not showy like its cousin, the green peafowl. No blazing colors, no crown, just elegance, restraint, and the kind of beauty you only notice when you pause. Once revered in royal courts and Buddhist temples, the gray peacock pheasant was called the hidden jewel of the forest. Its feathers symbolized wisdom and inner grace, a reminder that true beauty doesn't need to beg to be seen. Fun fact number 1, males perform slow, hypnotic dances during courtship, bowing low, fanning their tails in circles, their eye spots glowing like embers in the dark. Fun fact number 2, their feathers were so prized in ancient times that they adorned ceremonial robes and palace thrones, a status symbol born from silence. But here's the irony. In a world obsessed with noise and color, this quiet beauty is vanishing. Logging and hunting have erased much of its habitat, and now its dance plays out in smaller and smaller corners of forest. Still, it remains unseen by most. Not because it's gone, but because we stopped looking for things that don't scream for attention. So tell me, if your brilliance was subtle, would you still dare to shine in a world that worships spectacle? Because the gray peacock pheasant doesn't need applause. It moves through the shadows, each step a quiet declaration. Some jewels are meant to be felt, not flaunted. And in the hush of the bamboo grove, the hidden jewel still gleams. There was a time when the crested ibis was everywhere, gliding across the rice fields of China, standing tall beside rivers at dawn, its reflection glowing pink in the rising light. Now it's a miracle that it still exists at all. They call it Toki in Japan, Zhuhei in China. And both names mean the same thing, a spirit that refuses to die. With white plumage that blushes, rose under the sun, and a long, curved bill like a brushstroke of ink. The crested ibis looks painted, as if nature itself tried to capture peace in a single form. Its crest flutters gently in the breeze, and when it takes flight, it's less a bird, more a memory with wings. But beauty can't protect you from progress. By the 1980s, this species had vanished from nearly every corner of Asia. Polluted rivers, pesticides, and drained wetlands erased its home faster than it could adapt. At one point, there were only 7 birds left in the wild. 7. Fun fact number 1, every crested ibis alive today descends from that tiny group, rediscovered by accident in a remote Chinese village. Fun fact number 2, farmers who once saw it as a good luck symbol now guard its nesting sites like holy ground, because they know what it means to almost lose a miracle. In China, it's called the bird of hope, and when you see it glide over the rice paddies, white wings brushing the mist, you understand why. It's fragile, yes, but also stubborn, a survivor in silk feathers. Here's the twist. The crested ibis has come back from the brink. Thanks to decades of protection, its numbers now climb slowly, carefully, like dawn returning after too long a night. So tell me, if you lost everything, would you still rise, even just to see the sunrise again? Because the crested ibis did, and when it spreads those pale wings across the morning sky, it's not flying, it's forgiving. In a forest where everything is green, it takes courage to be red. The ruddy kingfisher is that kind of courage. A flash of fire in the rain, a streak of crimson that vanishes before you can decide if it was real. You don't see it often. You hear it first. A deep, echoing coo-coo-coo that rolls through the jungle like an unanswered question. This bird doesn't fish in open rivers like its bright blue cousins. It hunts in secret, in the half-light under the forest canopy, where shadows ripple like water. And when it strikes, that fiery beak cuts through the air with surgical grace, snatching frogs and insects mid-hop. It's not chaos, it's choreography. But here's the irony. For something so beautiful, the ruddy kingfisher is almost invisible. Deforestation across Southeast Asia has stolen its cover, and with every lost tree, its song fades a little more into the rain. Fun fact number 1, unlike most kingfishers, this species prefers darkness. It hunts under shade so thick, sunlight feels like an intruder. Fun fact number 2, in Japan, it's called akashobin, the bird of summer storms, because it only appears when thunder is near, a red omen wrapped in wings. There's a kind of poetry to that, isn't there? A bird that brings rain and silence in the same breath. You can't cage it, you can't find it when you look too hard. It only shows up when the forest is honest enough to deserve it. But here's the twist. Its fire doesn't burn for attention. It burns to remember, to remind the jungle what passion once looked like before chainsaws replaced thunder. So tell me, if you were the last color in a fading world, would you hide to survive or blaze until the end? Because the ruddy kingfisher chose fire, and every time its red wings slice through the green silence, it's not escaping. It's declaring that beauty can be quiet and still set the world on fire. Some birds are storms, some are shadows, and some, like the tickell's blue flycatcher, are just a spark of sky caught in feathers. You don't find this bird by searching, you find it by listening. A soft, clear whistle floating through the forest, like sunlight in sound form. Then there it is, a flash of electric blue and warm orange, no bigger than your hand, perched on a low branch like it owns the day. This little bird lives in the forests of Myanmar, India, and Thailand, and somehow manages to look like hope made visible. It's not rare because it's disappearing. It's rare because it refuses to be ordinary. Where most birds hide, it glows. Where others shout, it sings softly. Fun fact number 1, the male tickell's blue flycatcher's feathers actually reflect light differently depending on the angle. A natural optical trick that makes it shimmer like living sky. Fun fact number 2, it's a flycatcher in name and in action. Darting from branches in perfect arcs to snatch insects midair, then landing again with a flick, like punctuation in motion. It doesn't rule mountains or command storms. It just is. Simple, bright, constant. And maybe that's the lesson. Not every miracle has to shout. Some just hum quietly between trees, reminding the world that joy is still here, if you're patient enough to look. But here's the twist. Even small beauty depends on big balance. As forests fall silent across Asia, the flycatcher's song fades with them. Its spark is only as strong as the sky it lives under. So tell me, in a world full of noise, could you still hear something small, something honest, something that sings only for the sake of singing? Because the tickell's blue flycatcher doesn't ask for applause. It just keeps shining, a tiny blue ember burning in green shadows. A promise that even the smallest wings can carry light. If you've ever walked through a wetland at sunrise, you know that sound travels differently there. Every ripple, every rustle feels alive. And somewhere in that quiet chorus, you'll hear a voice that sounds like laughter hiding in the grass. That's the chestnut-capped babbler, the little wanderer of the reeds. It's not flashy, no shining blues or emerald crowns here. Just soft brown feathers, a rusty red cap, and a spirit that never stops moving. While bigger birds soar or hunt, the babbler hops, weaves, and darts through tall grass, a streak of life in a place most creatures overlook. It's the kind of bird you hear before you see, that cheerful chit-chit-chit echoing through the marsh, like it's telling the world a secret joke. And honestly, maybe it is. Because while other species vanish into extinction lists, the babbler keeps adapting, quietly, cleverly, persistently. Fun fact number 1, chestnut-capped babblers live in small, noisy groups. Family bands that stay together, chattering constantly like feathered gossip circles. Fun fact number 2, they build dome-shaped nests low in the reeds, woven so tight that even monsoon rain can't seep through. Engineering, courtesy of evolution. But here's the beauty. This bird doesn't live in untouched wilderness. It thrives in the in-between. Places half wild, half human. Irrigation ditches, rice paddies, overgrown ponds. Everywhere the world forgot to look, the babbler built a home. And maybe there's something poetic about that. In an age where we mourn what's lost, this tiny creature finds comfort in what remains. So tell me, if the world you love started to change beyond recognition, would you fight it or find a way to sing in the new rhythm? Because the chestnut-capped babbler doesn't complain. It just keeps wandering the reeds, whispering to the wind, turning every patch of grass into a reminder that resilience can sound a lot like joy. Some birds are known for their looks. This one, for its voice. The white-throated babbler is proof that even in the thickest undergrowth, music finds a way. You won't see it at first. It hides low among shrubs and bushes, brown and plain as dust. But listen closely, and you'll hear the forest come alive. A bubbling chorus of whistles, trills, and chuckles, as if the jungle itself had a sense of humor. That's the babbler talking to its friends, its family, sometimes to anyone who'll listen. In the heat of Myanmar's lowlands, its song bounces through the air like laughter skipping over leaves. It doesn't sing to impress, it sings to connect. The babbler is a social soul. It lives in tight-knit flocks that move together through the brush, feeding, calling, gossiping. If one finds food, it tells the others. If one spots danger, everyone knows. It's less like a bird band and more like a small, feathered community. Fun fact number 1, the white-throated babbler is endemic to Myanmar, found nowhere else on Earth. Fun fact number 2, it has over 10 distinct calls, each used for different emotions: alarm, curiosity, affection. Basically, the bird invented social media before we did. But here's the twist. As cities expand and forests shrink, the babbler keeps adapting. It nests in parks, gardens, and even along dusty roads, turning every patch of green into its stage. While rarer species fade, this one learns how to live alongside us. And maybe that's its secret. It doesn't fight change. It harmonizes with it. Where silence tries to take over, the the babbler fills it with sound. So tell me, if your world started closing in, would you go quiet or sing louder so someone might hear you? Because the white-throated babbler never stops singing. Even in the shadows, its voice keeps threading through the noise. A reminder that sometimes staying heard is its own kind of survival. If you ever wander into an old bamboo forest in Myanmar, you'll feel it first before you see it. The hush, the filtered light, the sound of wind whispering secrets through hollow stems. And somewhere in that quiet maze, something moves. A soft flutter, a curious gaze behind the green. That's the spot-breasted parrotbill, the ghost of the bamboo. With a stubby, curved beak like a tiny parrot and feathers the color of mist and sunlight, this bird is built for invisibility. It slips through the reeds and bamboo clusters so smoothly, you'd swear it was the forest itself breathing. It doesn't call often, but when it does, the sound is low and mellow. Half chirp, half echo, like bamboo sighing after rain. It's not famous, it's not flashy, but it's perfect. A creature evolved for a world most of us never notice. Fun fact number 1, that thick, parrot-like beak isn't just cute, it's powerful. It lets the bird crush tough bamboo seeds and pods that other species can't touch. Fun fact number 2, spot-breasted parrotbills live in tight family flocks, sliding through the undergrowth in a coordinated ballet of movement. So synchronized, they seem like a single organism made of feathers and patience. But here's the quiet heartbreak. As bamboo forests disappear, so does the ghost. It doesn't migrate. It doesn't adapt to cities. When the bamboo falls, it simply fades. Still, locals say if you walk gently, if you breathe with the rhythm of the forest, you might catch a glimpse. A round head tilting, a curious stare from behind a green wall. A spirit checking to see if you still belong here. So tell me, if your home could vanish with one swing of an axe, would you stay hidden or let the world know you were still alive? Because the spot-breasted parrotbill doesn't haunt its forest out of fear. It stays because it is the forest. A living whisper reminding us that silence too can have wings. Some birds rule the sky, some rule the forest, and some just endure. The Burmese collared dove is one of those quiet survivors. Not flashy, not famous, but stubborn in the gentlest way possible. You've seen doves before, but not like this one. This bird carries sunlight in its eyes, deep golden irises that catch the dawn like drops of honey. When it coos, it's soft, almost hesitant, a sound you feel more than hear. A heartbeat with wings. It lives where life shouldn't be easy. Dry plains, scattered villages, dusty farmlands. While rarer species flee shrinking forests, this dove stays close, finding peace in what remains. It perches on telephone wires, roofs, even broken branches by the roadside, turning ordinary places into sanctuaries. Fun fact number 1, the Burmese collared dove is found only in Myanmar. It's endemic, a bird that belongs to no other sky. Fun fact number 2, it thrives near people but never depends on them. Foraging alone at dawn, bathing in puddles after rain, building simple nests where it can. It's independence disguised as humility, and maybe that's the beauty of it. In a century where extinction stories fill the headlines, the dove reminds us that quiet persistence still wins sometimes. Not through strength, but through patience. Through showing up, every sunrise, every season, and singing, no matter how small your song sounds. But here's the deeper truth. The Burmese collared dove isn't just surviving, it's adapting. Living proof that life always finds a rhythm, even when the music changes. So tell me, in a world obsessed with the rare and the radiant, could you love something simply because it lasts? Because this dove doesn't seek legends or crowns. It asks for nothing, gives everything, and still manages to make the silence beautiful. Maybe that's how all stories should end. Not with triumph, not with tragedy, but with a quiet voice in the distance reminding us that survival too can be sacred. And so, our journey through Asia's rarest skies comes to an end. From the fiery crown of the golden pheasant to the silent vigil of the storm stork, we've met ghosts, kings, wanderers, and miracles that refuse to die. Each of these 20 birds tells the same story of survival, beauty, and balance. A story written not in ink, but in feathers, wind, and time. They remind us that rarity isn't weakness, it's resistance. That even in a world where forests fall and rivers grow quiet, something wild still sings. Maybe the point isn't to save every bird. Maybe it's to remember what their songs mean, to stay humble, to listen, to keep the sky wide enough for more than just ourselves. So the next time you hear a flutter in the silence, look up. It might not be a legend. It might just be a survivor writing the last verse of a story that still, miraculously, breathes.